And we're live. Hello, welcome everyone. Wow, my voice. Welcome to today's session episode. And I'm going to do something that has kept coming up as an idea. And I keep pushing it away, and it keeps coming back, and I keep pushing it away. And I keep pushing it away because it's not drawing. It's something I'd like to share that isn't drawing or painting, but it's something that's been really useful for me. And that is how to plan your week. And I've been developing this system for the last couple of years and tweaking it, refining it. And it might not work exactly like this for you, but I hope it has some useful elements. So if you have a piece of paper, grab that. And it looks like I have to refresh my camera again. I did do some tests and it's been smoother. So let's see. Wow, I did 2 tests before starting this session and it was working well. Okay, here we go. So, a piece of paper and a pencil. The size of the paper doesn't matter that much, but A4 or letter size works really well for me. And I have all of my week plans the same format, and I'll show you a stack of them in a minute. So take a piece of paper. If you have a sketchbook only, you could draw instead of fold, but if you have a loose piece of paper, that's much better. So we're going to fold in half. However you want to do that. Okay. So we've done a center fold. Then we're going to fold it one more time. Simple. If you have only a sketchbook and not a loose leaf page, then you could draw a cross. Like draw horizontal and vertical cross on your page, and on the back of it, do the same. Like flip your page over in the sketchbook and draw a cross on the back as well. I do this religiously every Sunday usually, sometimes every Monday. So I thought I'll share it with you and we'll do it together today. Okay, put the page the long side up. And we're going to start by writing the week number. And this week is week 21, I think. So write in big letters, week 21, and then the year 2020. I like to give this a little box, like so. Okay, and then draw 2 circles. Two or 3. I started with 3 and I've been doing 2 recently. Let's do 3 because 3 is nice. It's a good number. All right, I trust you are following along so far. Then we're going to write the week days. So Mon to wet. You can write the full week name, or sorry, the day name as you want, or if you have a different language you're using, you can do it in your language. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on the back, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Look there, we fit the whole week on our front and back. And so the first square on the front is the week, represents the week, and then 1 square for each day. When we have that, the final step of setting up is to write the day number. Today is the 18th. So 18th May, I write that here on my day. I'll bring it a bit closer in case it's small for on your device. And on the other days, I don't have to write the whole, like the month and everything. I just go 19, 20, turn around, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then final step is I make a line horizontally. So this is looking like a heading, right? Maybe I should slow down a bit. I've been doing this so many times. Give you a moment to catch up. So when you're here, you should have the week number and the year, 3 circles, which I'll explain what they are in a second. All the days with the date number for easy reference. So you know Tuesday 19th, Wednesday 20th, and the line. I used the line specifically, like that evolved as part of the system. I've changed things and simplified a bit now, but I still like the line because it shows me the square of the day, I think, and a clear heading. So if you're here now, the first thing I do is I look at my calendar and I see what are things that happen on specific days at specific times. So today I know at 5 p.m. when I use usually the 17 hours with that system, there's the live stream. And important detail, I'm very specific about all of this and it works for me. So try it out. I make a dash and I make it quite long. So let me get another page. Not a dot, not a small dash, but a proper, like quite long dash line. Because the setup for what we're going to do with the list as we go. It saves me time later on. All right, so if you have your phone with your calendar or your agenda open, take a look now and see what is coming up this week. What are things you already know? For me, Wednesday, same hour, the shading course, office hours. Well, I can see my calendar, I guess. See what else. Right now, there's not that many recurring things. I have a conference call tomorrow. At 7 p.m. THU Japan was supposed to happen now. It's not going to happen. That's sad. Wednesday, 9 p.m. Another call. And I would write what they are, but this is going on the internet, so to protect my friend's privacy. Friday, another call at 6. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for now. You hopefully get it. I'll invent a few things like groceries. What else could I be doing? Repot plant. Taking an online class. What do people do? Cleaning, paying bills, practicing an instrument, well, tomorrow morning I'd like to do yoga. Okay, so I hope you have a few items now on your list. Let me show you how I use the list here, and then I'll explain the 3 circles. So when I complete something, I cross it out. So this little dash that I've drawn becomes the starting point for my cross out list. And I cross it out with one clean stroke, so I can still read what was there before, right? I don't cross it out like that. Just one line when I've done groceries, done. Then I also connect things this way. So let's say we have a bunch of other things here. And again, I don't know if this is useful for you, but it's helping me. So if I've done this one and this one, I will also connect them throughout the day as I check things off. It makes it easier for my brain to recognize what is already done. So there's this gap now of things that I still need to do, and the gap here of something that's still undone. Eraser here. If you don't have anything on your list yet, put something there that's coming up that you know you want to do this week, and just put it on a day. So sometimes I want to do something that day and I don't get to it. And what happens then is this dash line becomes the starting point for an arrow. So the arrow means I didn't do it that day. It goes to the next day. And sometimes it stays here on that day. I didn't get to it, and it's Tuesday, and I do the things that are due on Tuesday, and I keep going through the week, and I'll keep looking at the days that have passed. And at some point, I will say, right, repotting the plant. Let's do it today. So let's say it's Wednesday. I put repot plant. It's now here on that day. Make sure you can see that. Once I've added it to another place, it's no longer needed on my Monday list. So now it gets crossed out and connected. And let's say I've done this, and I've done this, and then this gets connected. Once the whole day, all the tasks are connected with a vertical line, that means that day is done. I know immediately, if I'm looking at this day, that there's nothing else for me to worry about. As long as I have, or let's say I don't connect them vertically. Wait, that was not good. If I just have tasks, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just cross them out, it might be easy to miss this one. Okay, but once it looks like this, I know there's something going on down here. And once that's taken care of, I connect everything, and that connection is like, this day is completed. I don't need to worry about it. I can be happy. So there's one more thing I do with the list items, one more thing that can happen. So we said, if I've done it, let's bring it up here. Let's say I've had the conference call, I finished it. Yoga, I decided I don't want to do it. I'll do it another day. And what else could we have here? I can think of only house things like pre-cooking meals, cleaning, watch a documentary. So this is done. This is postponed. What can happen is that I decide that task, that thing is not actually important. I'm not going to do it. I let go of it. And the way I visually show that to myself is by crossing it out with a wiggly line. So it's very distinct. There's the straight line for done, there's the arrow for postponed, and there's the wiggly line for that has been let go of. Okay, so the 3 circles here, mysterious circles, what are they? I've noticed that when I have bigger projects, well, I've noticed that I tend to take on too much. I don't know if you have the same problem or not, but for me, I overestimate how much I can get done in a week. And I also find myself jumping between projects. To help me with both of those things, I choose 3 big things that I want to do that week. Only 3. And I make myself choose 3 things that are really important. And if it's a big project I'm working on, like releasing a new course, I will break it down to something the size of which I can do in a week, realistically. Oh, there's one more step for advanced users maybe of the list. But I'll put a little circle here to remind myself. So these 3 circles represent the 3 goals of the week, the 3 important things that if I get them done, I will feel really great about myself at the end of the week. And I'll write them here, and I'll try to be as specific as possible. So maybe publish new article, and maybe specifically on value studies, and maybe specifically having a date by Thursday. So right now, think of a goal, something that would make you quite happy if you achieved it. Something you can think you can do this week. It's Monday, we have 6 days, 7 days left. What's something that you've been procrastinating on, where you can make even a small amount of progress on it? And if it's something you've been procrastinating on, you can break it down. Take the first step. Like what would it look like to take the first step, and write that as your weekly goal. If you achieve that and more, that's fantastic. If you only achieve that, that's still your week goal achieved. So I was about to say be modest, or like take a smaller goal rather than one that's too big. But if it's inspiring, that can be useful too. So if you can think of 1, 2, or 3 goals or bigger things to do this week. For me, get ready for the spring term at the academy. And as I read that, as I say that, my alarm bell goes off, because that's too general. Like, what does it mean, get ready? When am I actually ready? How do I know I'm ready? Write the brief for design project. And we're going to do creature design, which was going to be a lot of fun. And I think there are 2 step-by-steps, like visual step-by-steps of projects that are in the Still Life program that I want to finish. And the 3rd goal, whatever that's going to be, I'm not going to bore you here by brainstorming my goals, but this is the process. At the end of the week, let's say it's Sunday or the Monday after, I do a review of the week. So by that day, all of my tasks will either be completed that day or maybe crossed out connected, crossed out. So every day is complete. And I go back to my weekly goals that I've set with the 3 circles, and I'll make an emotion there. I said I wanted to publish a new article on value studies by Thursday. I published the article, but maybe by Saturday. So I'm pretty happy, but not super happy, but still quite happy. So it gets a happy face. I'm sorry, I'm a bit on the right here on the camera. I realize I should move everything more to the left. So that face shows how happy I am with what I've done in that week regarding that goal. Maybe getting ready for the term. I didn't get either of those things done, so it gets a not so happy face. And then I fold this thing, and that gets archived. And I want to show you 2018, 2019. Wow, what happened there? That's a lot more. And 2020. So these are all my weeks. And I can go through and see what were my 3 goals and how happy was I about those. And that's a good thing, because it creates self-awareness for me of, did I do what I was intending to do? Were my goals actually good goals? Should I be changing how I set goals? I think self-awareness is a good thing, and that's a way for me to cultivate it. It also gives me a bit of structure throughout the week, like especially during the quarantine, but also otherwise. It's helpful for me to wake up and have a list. Maybe it's only 2 things, maybe it's 5 things. Things that past me decided are important for future me. So yeah, it's quite helpful for me, this system. And I'm not sure if I should mention the advanced thing with the circle, because I don't want to give you too much information, overwhelm you. So maybe let's take a few questions, if you have any questions about the system, and I think about how to explain the other thing. Any questions? And is this helpful, or is this completely disappointing because you were hoping to draw today? Let me know how you're seeing it. If there are no questions, maybe everyone is shy or the lag is too much. Either way is possible. I'm going to explain the thing with the little circle. So if I have a task like write article, or what could be something, maybe throw out in the chat some things that you are going to do, some things that you want to do, and I can incorporate them in this explanation and maybe make it more relevant. Yeah, this might be total overkill for many of you, but I think it's quite a simple system. And even if you don't use it every day, if you have especially intense days, it might give you a lot of peace of mind to just write things down and check them off, and check them off in this method, because it's very clear as you look at the list what is done and what isn't, just so you don't have to spend energy on figuring out what is next or what is important today. You have it already there, and then you just keep working down the list. Yeah, and some days I'm totally improvising as well. What could be another example here of something to do? Writing an email to someone important. Can't think of anything. So let's go with the article example. Week, please surprise me. So if I have to write an article, I have some idea of how long that's going to take, but I might be wrong. So I've gone through a period where I'm trying to build a better sense of how long things take. And the way I estimate is with small circles like this. And each circle represents 25 minutes. So this is advanced for those that really get into it. For me, this has been quite helpful, especially early on. I work in the Pomodoro method, which means 25 minutes I work, 5 minutes I take a break, 25 minutes I work, 5 minutes I take a break, and do that 3 or 4 times and then take a longer break. So one circle is one session, and it's nice. A circle is like a tomato, which is kind of the symbol of the Pomodoro technique or Pomodoro method. So right now I'm estimating 2 sessions for writing an article. When I start working on this, I set the timer, or I look at the time, and when my first session is over, I fill in that circle. So the empty circle is an estimate. The filled in circle is a completed session. So if I finish that article in 1 session, that's how it stays. So when I do my week review, or anytime I look at this list, I know I estimated 2 sessions, but I did it in 1. Maybe I can do here, do underpainting of a portrait. How long is that underpainting going to take? And let's say I estimate 2 sessions. I do the first session, I finish, I take a break, I come back, I do the second session, I finish the second session, but I haven't finished the underpainting. So I could go and add more circles, but I want to keep track of myself having misestimated how long it takes to do that underpainting. So instead of a circle, I'm going to add a rectangle. So rectangle means, how to sum it up, like a going over the time. Okay, so rectangle here, I can tell immediately that was not a planned session. That was a session I had to add because I underestimated how long things take. And believe me, when I started doing this, I would end up with lists like this, where the work involved in that thing I thought was going to take an hour ended up taking 3 hours or 4. And after a while, I'm getting better at estimating more accurately how long my work takes. And I think that's something that's part of being a professional, and it comes with experience. And maybe most people don't have to write things down, they just learn. But for me, I still I underestimated things that I had been doing many times, and I had been underestimating for years. And still, if I had written it down, I would have underestimated it. But having it black on white on paper in writing makes it really visual. And maybe that's our sense that's more developed as artists, visual artists, the visual sense. So when you see it actually on the page, it's like, holy moly, I did 3 times as much work as I thought I needed to do. And that's it. I think that's like the additional layer you can add. And I do that for things that I'm not quite sure how long they're going to take. If I'm going grocery shopping, I know it's going to be roughly half an hour, depending how many stops I have, maybe an hour. But some things I'm really not feeling sure, and then I will estimate with the circles. Final thing about this, let's say another task. If it's longer than 1 hour, I'll space it out. Like, I'll group my estimates into pairs of 2. Why? Because I can see that that is 2 plus 2 plus 2. If I do just one string of pearls, I don't know if that's 6 or 7 or 5 or 8. I have to, like, it's just harder to parse, harder to understand visually. And I think all these things come back to drawing and painting and composition, in a way, visual communication. Like, grouping is a compositional principle. So this is bad composition because it's not clear, it's confusing, it takes energy where I don't want the viewer to spend energy. So if I do it like this, it's more functional, it's more pleasant. I hope that's not doesn't seem like too far-fetched, but that's how I think about it. So that's it. That's my week plan system. And I'm open for questions if any of you have questions. This will be a short session today, just really practical on week planning. And I'm going to be back with more drawing and painting next week. Any questions? I can switch to this view, I think. Maybe let the chat catch up. Also, I should say that in the first week of June, I'm starting another round of the shading course. So the coaching is going to start, and I'm also going to take everyone who takes the course and focus on one module per week. So it's like a restart of the whole course. If you're in the course and you started it, and maybe you abandon it, you can come back to week 1 and start with everyone, so that the whole community is going through the course at the same time. I think can be really helpful. And if you want to join the coaching, then you can, which will be a small group meeting every Saturday, going more in depth and being more personal with the feedback. Okay, Mark has a question. How to clean an over full inbox? Step 1 I would do is unsubscribe from all the newsletters and things that you're not really interested in. Let's have the camera here. Let's go back here. Hello, camera. Wake up. Here we go. I think. Kind of. So I'm making this up as I go, but my first step because the problem is probably not just that your inbox is full, but also that stuff keeps coming that's not relevant, that's distracting you, it's taking your time, that doesn't deserve to take your time. So I would say unsubscribe from everything or almost everything. And you can do that by going through your inbox and just looking for newsletters and things that have been bothering you repeatedly every week. And that will reduce how much noise there is in your inbox. If it's very noisy and it's just overwhelming and creating a lot of stress for you, I would consider also changing your email address, just starting fresh and telling the people that need to know that you have a new email address. Like imagine you open your inbox and it's just 2 emails from people that you actually care about. That would be a very different experience to most of us who, when we open their inbox, it's just an avalanche of madness. So unsubscribe from everything. Then if you're using Gmail, I don't remember if you're on Gmail. There's actually some nice hotkeys, like keyboard shortcuts, hotkeys, yeah, like keyboard shortcuts you can use with in your inbox. The question that just came in: if you lose email that you don't remember, well, if you you can keep your old email account there and just go through it and read things or process it when you have time. And I can explain how I would go about doing that. But at least you have a new place set up. Your old email can still exist, but you have a new email that's under control, where you're not getting any spam and things. So to process email, if you're on Gmail, it's nice with the keyboard shortcuts. You can use up and down to switch between messages without actually opening them. And you can press X to select messages. So you can go down, down, X, down, X, down, X to select multiple emails. They're not opening, you're just selecting them. And then you can do deleting or archiving a bunch of emails at the same time. Because a lot of emails probably you don't need to open. You know what they are, they're not interesting or not relevant. Let's call this step 2 process. And my thinking here comes from David Allen. He wrote a book called Getting Things Done. GTD, or Getting Things Done. It's a pretty nice way of thinking about the stuff in your life. And in the book, it's actually a full process of capturing everything in your life that needs attention. Maybe your faucet is broken, or a light switch, or clothing that needs fixing, and there's letters that are over here, but 3 other letters are in the other room. Just collect everything and then process. It's a serious life event, that processing, taking a look at everything that actually is there, so that you can decide in the big picture what actually matters and what doesn't. And I will probably get this wrong, but I'll remember as well as I can right now. If there's an email or any task that takes less than 2 minutes, do it. It's not worth putting in any filing system or to-do list or anything. I wonder if you can see this well. Maybe this is better. A bit bigger. So if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now. If it's an email that you can respond to right away, just do it. Then there are 3 buckets, I think. One is the trash. These are emails or things, tasks that are just noise, so they should be deleted. Another is for things that are not for you to do, but for someone else. So this is delegate. Maybe it's an email that actually the next thing that needs to be done about it is you have to ask your sister about something and then respond to that person. So that email or that task should go to your sister and not to you. It's not for you to do. And the third is something to do later, like something to put in your system. And I'm going to use our to-do list here that we just made today. And these are things for you to do, not right now because they take longer than 2 minutes. Right now you're processing your inbox, you're processing your stuff to do. But they're things that are worth keeping track of or writing down. So when you're processing your emails, I would go, let's see, probably I would go trash first. And I have these days where there's 50 emails in my inbox that came in and I can't make sense of it. So I'm going through selecting multiple emails. So I'm not sure about other systems, but Gmail, there's a little checkbox. You can select, maybe not this one, select, and then press the letter D, and it will delete all the emails that you've selected. Oh, okay, there's one more, there's archive. How do you do an archive? Let's do a drawer, like a filing cabinet. So some emails contain information that you want to keep around, right? You don't want to delete that email, but it shouldn't be in your inbox. And a shortcut, man, I don't know why I'm struggling so much with that. Shortcut or hotkey in Gmail is E. E for archive. And you can look up your email program, email provider, if they have keyboard shortcuts. But so I would select, batch select all the emails that I want to archive, and then press E. And maybe if there's 4,000 emails, I would do 30 at a time because the browser might crash or something. So just I would start with the trash, pick all the ones that are going to the trash. Then I would do archive probably second. Sorry, I'm running out of space here. I can fold this. There. So first, trash, get rid of the things that you don't need. Second, archive everything that can be archived that doesn't require an action, that doesn't require you to do anything. And then decide, should it be delegated or should it go in your own task system, which could be a list. Could be a list just in writing that you keep separate from your week plan. I really love an app called Todoist. It exists for all operating systems in the browser, on your phone, on your computer, Windows, Mac. It's free. It's very clean. This is my favorite app, and I've used all the task managing apps there are. And I use this staying organized also as a procrastination technique. You know, when there's something that is really uncomfortable for me to do, I will go and organize my inbox and my task list perfectly. It's a useful procrastination thing, but sometimes I have to learn to leave things messy and just get to the thing that needs to get done, that's uncomfortable. Mark, for you who asked the question about having 4,000 emails, probably I would do the last month, like take aside an afternoon, 3 hours, and process the first 500 emails or 1,000, I don't know, the ones that were sent in the last month, and do this process. If you have energy and still time, you can do it the month before. But anything that's older than, let's say, 3 months probably wasn't that important. So I would select all of those emails that are older. Let's say there's more. And I'm not sure if this works in Gmail, but probably you can select one and hold Shift and select the last one, and it will pick all the ones in between. So you've now selected all of these. Sorry for the cardboard sound. And then press E or press the archive button. And now all of these 3,000 emails that are left have been archived. They're still there if you need them, but they're not in your inbox. So when you come to your inbox the next day, it's empty. Like there's only those emails that you need. Yeah, I'm struggling with email as well. And a couple years ago, I realized that some important people don't respond to emails. And I wanted to be someone who always responds to everyone. You know, doesn't matter if it's a child or someone I don't know, if they're asking advice about drawing or anything else I can help with. Even if I can't help with that thing, I want to be someone who is kind to everyone, who responds to everyone. And so far that's been possible, mostly, but it comes at a big expense. Sometimes I'm really stressed out because my inbox is so full of unanswered emails. And I'm at a transition point where I can see that eventually it will just be impossible for me to get to everything. And probably already now I'm spending too much time on emails that aren't really that important. I could be making another course. I could be writing a book or making another video or making a painting. Things that from the future looking back, I will be more happy that I did than to write the email to a stranger. It's really hard for me. But I'm starting to sometimes delete emails if the person writing is clearly not considered with taking my time. I can tell by the way the email is phrased. Like if it sounds entitled and just super abrupt and there are typos and it's, yeah. And I feel like, okay, yeah, maybe this person doesn't deserve my time, or my time is better spent on something that can be useful for more people or healthy for myself. And it's something I'm working on. But I think most of us are spending too much time on things that don't matter, periods, like in life. So for me, developing more awareness around that is what these lists are about, and keeping track of where my time is going, where I'm deciding to put my time, often unconsciously. And I get to the end of the day and I feel bad about how I didn't spend my day well. When I write things down, that happens less so. The shortcut X is to select an email. So if you have your list of emails and it's unselected, if you press X, it will select it without opening it. You can also click, but arrow key down, down X, down X, down X is much faster for me than getting the mouse pointer and finding a little checkbox and clicking in the checkbox. So I'm a fan of using the keyboard for a lot of things. Wow, so we've done almost an hour. I hope this is helpful for all of you. And next week, I don't know, there's so many things we can do. Yeah, I was considering. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We should finish. I should finish cleanly. I hope this was useful for you today. If you're making a list like this, I would love to hear how it's going. If you're in the course, you can use the Discord server we have there. And I'm thinking about ways to have people who are not in the shading course but are watching the streams to also participate. Like when we're drawing together, I would love there to be a place where everyone can post and see each other's works. Maybe we can do some of that just with hashtags on Instagram and Facebook, or we can open another Discord server for this thing. Yeah, any ideas about that are also very welcome. Okay, with that, we're closing, and thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.